The Vanishing hotel room, a chilling mystery that no one can explain. It started as a normal night. A businessman checks into a luxury hotel in Paris. He signs his name in the guest book, takes his room key and walks to the elevator. Security cameras capture every second of his arrival. At 10:42 p.m. he sends a final text to his wife. "I made it. The flight was long. Talk in the morning." That was the last message he ever sent. The next morning, housekeeping knocks on his door. No answer. They knock again. Silence. After multiple attempts, they use the master key and step inside now. And that's when things stop making sense. The bed is perfectly made, the towels are neatly folded, and his luggage is gone. The bathroom is spotless. There is no trace that anyone had ever been in the room, but that wasn't even the strangest part. When the hotel staff checked the reservation records, his name isn't there. There is no record of him checking in, no payment, no passport scan. It was as if he had never existed, and this wasn't the first time this had happened. For decades, rumors had circulated about guests vanishing overnight in certain hotels. At first, they were dismissed as urban legends, but then the police started noticing something disturbing. There was a pattern. The first recorded case was in 1943 at the Grand Royal Hotel in London. A woman named Margaret Fields checked in at 9:30 p.m. The receptionist remembered her clearly. She had been chatty, excited about her trip. The next morning, her room was completely empty. Her belongings were gone. The bed was untouched. The bathroom floor was bone dry, as if no one had stepped inside. The hotel called the police. When they checked the guest book, her name wasn't there. Her passport scan didn't exist. It was as if she had never checked in at all. At first, police thought it was just a clerical error, but then they dug deeper, and what they found was terrifying. Margaret Fields' bank account was never used again. Her family never heard from her. No one ever saw her again. And the room she had stayed in, room 306, the exact same room where another guest would disappear 20 years later. By the 1970s, similar cases started surfacing all over the world. In New York, 1958, an investment banker named Edward Crane checked into room 511 at the Crescent Hotel, gone by morning, no trace. In 1999, at the Roosevelt Hotel in New Orleans, a woman named Lisa Holloway checked into room 427, vanished overnight. But Lisa's case was different because this time, something was left behind. The hotel staff found a single pair of shoes sitting by the door. They weren't hers. Investigators traced the shoes back to a former guest, a man who had stayed in the same room 10 years earlier, before disappearing under identical circumstances. It was as if Lisa had been erased from existence, and someone else's forgotten belongings had been left behind instead. That room, too, was permanently closed. But if these disappearances were random, why were they always happening in the same rooms? And why were these guests never seen leaving? In 2015, a journalist named Daniel Mitchell decided to investigate. He booked a one-night stay in room 410 at the Lancaster Hotel in Chicago, one of the sites where a disappearance had been reported decades earlier. He set up hidden cameras, determined to record everything. At exactly 3:13 a.m., something happened. His camera feed cut to static. A loud knocking sound echoed through the room. The next morning, when hotel staff entered the room, Daniel was gone. But this time, there was something left behind. His video camera was still recording the footage. At 3:13 a.m., the closet door slowly creaked open on its own. And for just a few seconds, the camera captured something standing in the doorway. Not a person, not a shadow. Something wrong. Something that should not have been there. The moment it stepped forward, the footage cut to black. Daniel was never found. After Daniel's disappearance, hotel management was forced to investigate the building's history. That's when they made a disturbing discovery. There was something behind the walls. During a routine renovation, workers found a sealed-off hallway behind room 410. Inside that hallway, a single locked door. There was no handle, no keyhole. No way to open it from the outside. A maintenance worker finally forced it open. Inside, they found a perfectly preserved hotel room. The carpet was old and stained. The wallpaper was peeling, and in the center of the room was a single chair facing the door. On the chair, there was a stack of missing persons reports. Every name on the list belonged to a guest who had vanished from a hotel room over the last 50 years. Then they found something even worse. One of the workers noticed a closet door, slightly ajar in the abandoned room. Inside, hanging neatly on a rack, were suits and dresses from different decades, clothes belonging to the people who had disappeared. And then, at the very bottom of the closet, they found a single guest book, a list of names and dates. The last entry, Daniel Mitchell. The date, the night he vanished. The Lancaster Hotel shut down the floor permanently. No one speaks about what was found behind the walls, but to this day, travelers still report waking up in unfamiliar hotel rooms, in places they don't remember checking into. Some guests recall hearing whispers at night, others say they wake up to the feeling of someone standing over them, and some they wake up in a different hotel entirely, somewhere they've never been before, with no memory of how they got there. And when they check out, their names aren't on the reservation list, the rooms they stayed in don't exist, and in some cases, their families never hear from them again. Is this all a coincidence, or are certain hotel rooms something else? Somewhere else, something is waiting behind the walls. And once you check in, you might never leave. Subscribe and share for more creepy mysteries.